everyone. I'm Megan Lohman. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Plan Forward. I know most of you who I saw on the registration list. So I know many of you are busy and aren't going to be able to watch this live, but we're so excited to bring you this content because this is such an important time of year. And I know it seems crazy. It's, August 3rd and we're talking about open enrollment. But it really is important to start planning for open enrollment if you want to maximize the opportunity. I think something that comes up consistently in all of our entire team's conversations are, we know we have these people that are paying too much for their dental insurance, and we want to have this plan in place so that we have an option for these patients, but how do we actually get proactive about growing our membership plan and truly helping these patients transition off of these plans that really aren't worth the money? So hopefully the content and how we're going to help you guys get prepared, and also the resources we've prepared for you will help jumpstart this process, at least get you thinking about it. And then obviously we're always here for questions and to support you as you're going through this process. So with that, Janelle, did you want to add anything or chime in kind of before I dive in?
No, I'm just excited that we're doing this to kind of really, kickstart the whole process for everyone. Like you said, it does seem odd to be talking about it in August, but we all know that October will be here before we know it. And we have the opportunity now to start talking about this now so that when patients get that information and might be considering, options for their insurance participation, they remember that maybe when they were in the practice, you had the opportunity to speak with them. So it's a great opportunity to really start now and start, really planning ahead. So I think it's great that we're doing this and excited to see how this everyone takes this opportunity and this information and runs with it.
Also, please use the Q&A. Both Janelle and I are going to be monitoring that. And I do see that there's a question. You're hearing lots of echoing. Janelle, do I sound echoey to you?
You don't on my end.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. I can try popping in these earbuds and maybe that'll help. Hold on.
I do see that Laura is signed in twice. That might have something to do with the echoing on her end, but just so she's aware of that.
That's true. If you're on the phone and on a computer, just make sure to mute your speakers on your computer or you'll hear this constant loop. Okay, so with that, again, use the Q&A. Please ask any questions. This is all clients, so we love nothing more than doing all client educational, I guess, videos, if you will, and bringing you guys content. So it's all a friendly atmosphere. So please feel free to pick our brains. So really, when we think about open enrollment and maximizing it, it's a mindset shift. And, how do we think about growing your membership plan during open enrollment? So like I touched on, we know some patients are paying way too much for their dental insurance. But the question is, how do we find these patients? How do we help educate these patients? What are we talking to them about? Are we comfortable talking numbers with them? And ultimately, what's our goal at the end of the day? And so just to kind of position this, I did this for a number of years, talking through different dental options with patients, talking to retirees, talking to people who are looking at buying a supplemental insurance plan through Medicare. And so I know these conversations and how they flow. So hopefully these resources will be relevant. So number one, there are a few buckets that I would immediately go to think about finding patients who potentially are paying too much for their insurance. So number one is any patient who's eligible for Medicare. So this is just an EagleSoft snapshot, and I know there's a very similar report in like Dentrix, Open Dental, or any other practice management softwares. So you may have to reach out to your practice management software customer service to ask them how to pull some of these numbers and exports. But for your Medicare patients, I would definitely filter your search criteria on insurance status, and you're going to want to look for all, not just those who are just insured, because the ones who maybe didn't choose a dental plan last year and are going through the re-election and open enrollment process again could potentially opt for insurance next year. So to capture everybody that's eligible for Medicare, you want to make sure that you're filtering based on insurance status of all. So you want insured and uninsured. I would probably filter based on your patient status of active. I do think there's a case where you might want to look through your inactive patients. You could probably take a quick glance through people who maybe went to another practice because of an insurance change. So it might make sense to reach out to some of those people, but I would say by and large, I would filter based on your active patients. And then for the age range, I would do like 65 to 100, just to try to capture a wide range of patients and not eliminate, or, go to 150 or something like that, so that you're getting everyone over 65. The date of birth, actually, you're eligible for Medicare 3 months prior to your 65th birthday and 3 months after your 65th birthday. So super technical. I just did, a date range of today all the way back to 3 months before August, 65 years ago. So if you want to use the date of birth range, those are good dates to use. So run your report to get all patients who are eligible for Medicare, which means they don't automatically have a dental option, and they could potentially be considering some of those expensive Medicare supplement options for dental. So we want to communicate with those people before they see their options. The second bucket is the preventive care or the insurance plans who pay less than 100% for preventive care. So this is not just Medicare patients. This is all your whole patient population. I could think off the top of my head, a handful of employers in our community that provided these dental insurance plans that paid 80% preventive. So right then and there, when a patient comes in for their recalls, they do have insurance, but they're still paying out of pocket. So there's a good chance with the portion they're paying for preventive care and the portion they're paying in premiums, it might be more financially beneficial for them to join your membership plan and opt out of their dental insurance for next year. So I would run a report to look for insurance companies and look for that preventive percentage when you input the coverage for the different employers. And you want the preventive care percentage to be 80%. Again, that's going to be different in each PMS. So you may have to call and say, hey, how do I get a list of employers that have an insurance that's 80% or less than 100%? We did actually have a couple that were 90%. So essentially any insurance plan or employer that is not covering preventive at 100% is a great distribution list for this as well. And then kind of a third big bucket of where to find patients is where their maximum is $750. So we all know that by and large, the standard for your maximum benefit is $1,000. So anyone that has a plan with $750 as their max, there's a pretty good chance that that's not a super comprehensive plan. There's probably lots of exclusions, waiting periods, and they're going to hit that max very quickly in a 1-year period, especially if they're doing their 2 recall appointments a year. So, sorry about that. The Leverage website marketing tools is not applicable to this slide. So I apologize. I forgot to update those bullets, but run a report to show which patients in that insurance maximum have 750 entered in as that value. And that will give you, again, a solid list of patients who potentially are paying too much for a plan that's not covering a lot for their money. So now that you have your lists, you want to proactively contact them. You want to notify them. So you're going to need to get that contact information out of your PMS. So I would, try to include an email address, a cell phone number, and a physical address. So export these reports and combine that data from your practice management system. If your patient engagement platform allows you to filter patients based on some of these criteria, you may just be able to do that in something like a care crew or legwork or something like that, where you can filter patients based on a lot of this criteria and automatically send them communications via text or email through the patient engagement platform. If you don't have that, then export the lists into Excel, and then you can manipulate the data. If you need help, we've helped a ton of people, a lot of our clients manipulate data in the past, so just reach out. But what you're going to want to do is combine that contact information so you have a solid distribution list. So if you look at direct mail, obviously we're going to need addresses for those patients. Retirees might do best with a postcard. So that kind of first Medicare eligible, it might make sense to do a physical postcard for those patients. They're cheaper. You can do just a very basic postcard that says, hey, don't pay too much for your open enrollment. I wouldn't have, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have said put a QR code on a postcard that goes to an older demographic. But thanks to COVID, a lot of people know how to use QR codes now with their smartphones. So it might make sense to use a QR code right on the postcard. So it will send, it can send them directly to more information. On your direct mail piece, if you're using a postcard or even a letter, if you're sending a letter, a testimonial from a patient who's on your plan, along with a photo, speaks 1,000 words. So if you can just get another patient to say, or if you have somebody in your back pocket that was on a Medicare supplement plan or had something else and opted out for the membership plan and they've been happy, just reach out and ask them, hey, would you mind if we put a little blurb or quote with maybe your first name and your photo for marketing our membership plan? Maybe give them a gift card or something like that for allowing you to use their face and their quote. That will go a long way with marketing your plan. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of companies who can do this and will even send the whole thing out for you. We have our partner that does this for us. So absolutely feel free to reach out. All we need is a distribution list. So like an Excel file. We can put together the design. We could even put a QR code on there for you, and we can have them send it out on your behalf. And it would be all your branding and all that good stuff. For email, this is probably the easiest and fastest form of communication. As you know, all you need is your email address list and a message. Again, use that testimonial if you can, and then I kind of skipped over this, but you want to use that email and that technology to link your plan for more information or directly to the enrollment. Don't just send people, say, click here to learn more, and it goes to your practice homepage. You want to send them directly to the place where it talks about your membership plan. So if you don't have a specific landing page on your website for your membership plan, then maybe just consider sending the enrollment link directly, or put a logo or a pop-up on your homepage that links to that before you send this out. And it will just be more targeted to these patients, so they're not having to search around for the information. Again, we can do this for you. So reach out, ask us for help. We're here to support. Also, text messaging. Many patient engagement systems are texting these days. It's a very quick, simple, sometimes free way to just keep certain things top of mind for patients. We actually have a system where we can send one-off text messages for you at no cost to you. So if you have that distribution list of mobile phone numbers and you want us to send a couple messages on your behalf, let us know. We're happy to send it. Again, just a quick blurb with maybe your enrollment link, hyperlinked in the text message. Somebody can read it quickly, they can click on it, and now they have the information. Just simple ways to get the information out before that open enrollment date starts is probably the most difficult and time consuming. Is just curating the list of who to send these messages to and how you want to send it. But again, we're here to help. For those of you who may not be using it or know where your enrollment link is, it's unique to your practice. If you have multiple practices or if you're part of a group, that enrollment link is specific to your locations. So kind of be mindful of that. If you have a shared website and you have multiple locations, just make sure to send them to that kind of initial page where they are going to select their location first. But that enrollment link is in the top right-hand corner when you log into our platform. So tips on messaging: direct them somewhere, like I mentioned, to the landing page or to the enrollment link, and make sure to give specific details on how to enroll or what the plan is, or how it works. We do also provide some educational information. So there's one non-branded animated video that's like 30 seconds that we've created for just what is a membership plan, because this could be unfamiliar to a lot of your patients. It just breaks it down in a simple fashion. So you can include the animated video in your email or your text message. You can put your pricing brochure as an image in the email. So just giving them more specifics on pricing, how it works, what it is, will help them get as much information through your messaging so they're not having to take up the front office time. I mean, obviously, if they call, that's great because you have that touch point and you get to kind of build that relationship a little bit more, but also that's time consuming when you could communicate a lot of this stuff out electronically or, through the mail. And I would recommend sending at least 2 messages. So often, everybody's inundated with a lot of information. So sometimes just that first go doesn't always land. And so if you send it twice, you just have a better, or maybe even 3 times, depends on how soon you send the first one out. But just the more times you send it, the better chance you have of it actually catching someone's attention when they're ready to digest the information. Let's see.
Note on that too, Megan,
I was just gonna say,
maybe send it at different times. Like the first time you send it, maybe send it in the morning, on a Tuesday, or maybe sometime one time you'd send it in the evening, like that kind of thing. So like you said, you catch them at their time as opposed to, when it's convenient for us.
Exactly. And a lot of systems you can schedule when the message is sent. So you don't have to be sitting there at your computer and hit send when the message goes out. Specifically, social media. So for most of you, this is free. If you're not running social media ads, just keep posting and post regularly. A lot of people know how social media works by this time, but just because you put it out there for the world, only a small percentage of people that maybe follow you actually see it. So you have to routinely post it and post it frequently for it to really get the number of impressions that you're hoping to actually drive conversion. So post, include that testimonial if you can, if you're able to get one, include a link to the landing page or to the enrollment page. Things like Instagram, you can't hyperlink directly in the message, so you may have to put it down below or like in a comment, but again, you can put that link in there so it can take people somewhere. And I would post weekly until open enrollment starts, or even through open enrollment. I definitely don't think it hurts to just routinely post, because again, this is such a long period that people are going to be considering these benefits, and you just want to make sure that you hit it at the right time for the most number of people. I'll show you some templates for open enrollment social media posts that we've already created that you can just kind of grab and post. This is less proactive, but certainly important. And it's having flyers up in the office, in your waiting room, and at your front desk, and for sure at your checkout. This is only going to capture the people actually walking through your doors, but it's still a great thing that might not be top of mind for your patients today, but they are going to be going through open enrollment. So have these flyers up and really kind of get this top of mind, especially if these patients fall in those buckets that I just mentioned. If they're, have a good potential of potentially switching to your plan, at least have this up so it's top of mind, not only for your patients, but for your team.
And feel free to reach out if you want to brand that. I mean, I'm happy to take the flyer and brand it with with your information, or if you want to say something specific, let us help you create these resources to, make them, if you want them specific for your practice.
Yep, absolutely. And then along with the enrollment link in our platform is the client resources tab. And there's a lot of information on this page, but it's right here up at the top called resources. And if you scroll through it, there is kind of midway down, it talks about growing your plan through open enrollment. So click there, scroll down, and you can see some email templates and things like that, these flyers, these social media graphics that you can just quickly download and use, like Janelle said, or let us know if you want it branded. We can help you get your logo on there. Or if you have a marketer, they can help, give them some of these ideas, and they can, create your own stuff to post. The last piece, okay, so this is when you're proactively kind of reaching out, notifying patients that you have the plan, finding the patients that are a good fit potentially for your plan. But then when they call or when they're in the office, somebody's got to be comfortable talking through the numbers with them. So they're going to want to know, how does your plan compare to these other options that I'm considering? And so my recommendation would be to make sure you're looking at 3 buckets of where the dollars are being spent. So number one, you have to bring up, how much are you paying in premiums? So their employer might be contributing to a portion of that premium. But for this exercise, you're really just going to want to factor in how much they are actually paying out of pocket for their portion of the premium. If they're buying a standalone plan or a Medicare supplement, it's going to be that whole monthly, or I don't think they even do yearly amounts with that, but you're going to want to just, know the full dollar amount that somebody is paying out of pocket for that plan. You're also going to want to look at how much are they spending out of pocket at their recall appointments. And so this is just sort of how much are they spending out of pocket for any preventive care services that are typically covered at 100%. Because if they're not actually being covered at 100%, and the patient's paying out of pocket, whether it's bite wings every other year, or they have to pay a portion of their cleaning, or it doesn't cover adult fluoride, we want to factor that into, that's still an out-of-pocket expense for the patient when these services are typically included in a membership plan. And then the third bucket is treatment. If they had a crown this year, or, a big treatment, a big case, a $5,000 case, and they maxed out their insurance, it's a really great idea to compare how much did they pay out of pocket for treatment and how much would they have paid out of pocket had they been on the membership plan. So you're going to want to look at those 3 buckets and compare. And so I know this is a lot of information. We created an insurance versus membership worksheet. It's super basic, but we'll provide this to you. It's hyperlinked there on the client resources tab that I mentioned, but this is what it looks like. So I filled it in as if I were a financial coordinator going through this exercise with a patient. So this is going to be blank for you when you get it. So just print these off and have them handy. And you can fill in there at the top. You're going to have to ask the patient, hey, what's your premium every month? What are you paying out of pocket? Times that by 12, and that's your yearly amount. Then you can fill in plan details if you want, like their max, their deductible, and then their percentages of what it, how it is paying. And then for the first and second cleaning, for the services that they're using, or that you build out, are they paying out of pocket for those services? If you don't want to get this granular, you can just, run a total and look at a total. How much are you paying for preventive care? If this is a perio plan, that's why we put in, your first and second might be, not cleanings, but perio maintenances, but how much are they paying out of pocket? And then if it's a perio plan, for that third and fourth perio appointment, what's their out of pocket there? And then any kind of restorative treatment. Usually you can filter your patient ledger based on the patient and a date range, and you can see all of their expenses or their payments that they've made to you. So then down here at the bottom, you're just summarizing the total in premiums, the total for all the cleaning, the cleaning appointments and the total for all of the treatment. And then you put that total right there. You could denote on here, and this is intended actually to give this to them to take with them. You may also want to note if there are waiting periods or exclusions that kind of jump out to you on any plan that they're considering. Because if they have a 1-year waiting period for any treatment, then this out of pocket for treatment, they're going to be paying 100% of anything they have done. So you may want to note that. And then on the right side here, obviously it's your membership plan. So you put your membership plan price. If it's a perio plan, be mindful of how much you're putting every month or year. And then, there's no deductible or maximum that applies. And then what's your restorative discount? You might have multiple levels, so you can include that as well. But I just threw a slash through all the preventive stuff because usually if they're on the plan, they're not paying out of pocket. Some people do have a service. They do charge a service charge at the time of service. So you can indicate that here as well. And then let's say they had a filling and they paid $120 out of pocket. Well, what would they have paid had they been on the membership plan? That's a good way to compare apples to apples. And then just total that stuff up and put your total at the bottom for your membership plan. So again, there's a blank copy of this online that you can print out and use for yourself. You can put your logo on there if you'd like to, but or you can change it. I think we put a PDF up there, but we do have an editable version. I think this was done in Excel. So if you want to change this up, just let us know. We can give you the raw copy of this and you can make it your own. So be sure that before you start pushing all of this content out to your patients, that you're then ready to talk about, okay, how much have you paid in premiums? What does this look like in our practice? And how much is the membership plan if you would choose to go that route? And then, just from a mindset perspective, your job is truly not to sell them on something that isn't in their best interest. Why every practice puts this plan in place is truly to help the patients be able to have a great plan that's comprehensive, that's a good value for their money. So your role is really just to help educate your patients on their options. They look to you, it's not your job to be their dental insurance expert, but truly that's what they rely on you for. And if they are your longstanding patients, this is just an additional service that you provide that keeps them at your practice. So, the way I always view it, and I would love our clients to just take this more consultative approach to helping their patients be very clear on what their options are. So your role is simply to educate, and then ultimately your patient is going to make the best decision for themselves. We had patients who chose our membership plan, even if it was slightly more expensive, just because they didn't want to deal with the, jumping through the hoops of the insurance plans. So, hopefully, that framing helps your team, take the pressure off of the fact that they have to sell the plan, but just being very transparent on what the options are and what the totals are is going to help your patients, just make a good decision. And sometimes you're going to bring things to the surface that they haven't considered, and maybe they are paying a lot more out of pocket than even you thought. And so it's just a really good exercise to help to walk through with patients. Any questions? Have they come in, or any comments, Janelle?
I haven't seen any other questions come in yet.
Okay, perfect. Well, just a quick timeline. If I were to recommend kind of what to do first, here's today, and I would try to use August to get prepared. So running those reports and finding the distribution list of patients who you want to proactively talk to and target. And then I would confirm what types of content you want to push out. Are you going to create postcards? Do you want to send physical letters? Do you just want to do email? And do you need some help with some email copy? Or how are you going to hyperlink certain things? Or do you want to get a landing page on your website before open enrollment starts so that you can just send people to the landing page? We have samples of landing pages also. that if you have somebody who does your website, that's usually a very quick thing for them to add. And we can help make sure that they get all the accurate information. And usually you just hand them, even the pricing brochure sometimes, just hand them the pricing brochure and they can put it together so it matches the aesthetic of your website and all that. And then you can put the enrollment link right there on the landing page. So confirm your content, how you want to send out these messages. You could draft your social media posts and like kind of create a schedule so that when these weeks start flying by, you already have a plan and you're ready to kind of start posting. There's an amazing, I forgot to put her information in here, but there's an amazing company. It's called Connect 90, and they have a social media calendar that practices, this is their whole business. It's preparing kind of a framework for social media activity for your practice that allows you to sit down, and the whole goal is in 90 minutes, you lay out all of your social media content for the entire month. And so just that's kind of the way the world is shifting. You know, people want to get comfortable with your team. They want to learn who you are as a person or who your doctor is as a person, what the culture is of your practice. So leveraging social media as more of a strategic angle is how a lot of practices are starting to differentiate. So leveraging something like a Connect 90 to schedule these social posts is a great idea. And actually our clients get a 60-day free trial with Connect 90. So be sure to reach out to, probably I would be the best person to reach out to if you want more information on that. And then ultimately get those flyers up, you know, especially before September 1, you know, put the flyers up. So as the people are coming in, it kind of, you know, the light bulb goes off. In September, I would say that's probably when I would start to actually send the communications out. So, you know, maybe week 1 and week 3 of September, send out two postcards or 2 emails, or email, text, email, something like that. And then get those price comparison worksheets ready and kind of at the front desk so that they're there and available when patients are coming in.
Megan?
Yeah.
On that note, we had a question about where to find the worksheets. I wanted to let them know that it's also on the resources page, like Megan had mentioned, right on the, you can find it right from the platform, as well as we will be sending a follow-up to you guys today, you know, the follow-up email with obviously the recording, if you want to, you know, review that again, anything you want to go back over. And the one pager that we're going to send with that will have direct links to all of the resources that we mentioned today. So either way, you'll be able to have quick and easy access to all that great stuff.
Yep. And let me just share the actual platform. So this, when you click that client resources here, it'll take a second. There we go. When you click the resources tab in our platform, this is the page that you see. If you haven't ever been there, this is what it looks like. So you can submit a support ticket or reprint brochures. But if you scroll down, there's some training videos, FAQs on how to do things, employer managed plans. So here's the open enrollment section. So this right here is that worksheet. So if you just click on this, can you still see this?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So here is the worksheet. So you can just download this or print it right from here, and it'll just stay there. The raw file, the Excel file isn't on there. If you want the Excel file, just let us know, but that's where it is. Any other questions?
No, not yet.
Okay, perfect. Well, I cruised through that information. I just really hope, I know everybody's so busy, and, you know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of time to be proactive about things that aren't, you know, fires right there that you're trying to put out. However, we all know the frustrations with insurance plans that just aren't worth the money for our patients. So it's just another thing, another service you can provide to your patients, just letting them know proactively that there are other options, you know, that they don't have to be spending this money on dental insurance if it's not worth the spend. And if maybe they're employer switching insurance and you're now out of network, you know, that's another conversation that comes up, especially when employed people are going through open enrollment. It happens all the time. Employers change their dental insurance payer, and now all of a sudden you're out of network. So you may have this conversation because of situations like that. So just get comfortable, reach out. We have helped practices do lots of different creative things, from texting, emailing, postcards, letters, hyperlinking, landing pages, whatever it is. We would love to be supportive. And if you have, this is another thing, if you have a TV screen in your waiting room and you have, slides that kind of scroll, make sure that anything digitally that's in your practice or your TVs and your operatories, maybe put a slide up that talks about open enrollment and your membership plan. So hopefully this was helpful. Janelle, any last comments or anything?
I don't see any other questions. We'll give it a minute
Okay.
in case anybody has any more, but right now there's not anything posted, but
Okay.
definitely appreciate everyone attending today and showing and asking questions.
Absolutely.
It's always more, fun when it's a little interactive. So, and gets questions answered that probably other people were thinking too. So
Exactly. Well, if there are no other questions, thanks again, everybody, for logging on. If you're watching this recording, hope this is valuable, and always feedback is always welcome. Please reach out if we can support you in any way, shape, or form. Have a great day. Oh,
Thanks,
there's a
Jen.
question. What's that? Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.